Howdy everybody, welcome to another What's on Dave's Shelf. In this video we're going to take a look at the entire, and that's right, I said the entire X-Series modules for basic Dungeons & Dragons, or the BECMI Classic Series. So there's a bunch of modules in here, and I'm going to get going so this video isn't too long. And the Expert series of modules for basic Dungeons & Dragons, these modules are for levels 4 to 15. The beginner box set, or the red box set that everybody is so fond of, and everybody that's ever played D&D has owned the red box set, was for levels 1 to 3. So all of the expert stuff is for 4 to 15. So I'm going to get these out of here, and we're going to take a look at these. And like I said, there's actually quite a bit of them. And I'm glad that I'm able to share all of these with you. All of you have been so receptive of these videos. They've brought back so many memories for you, and I'm glad that I can share these with you. So let's start off with X1. This is a great module. This we did when I was a kid. The first module that we played from cover to cover was B2 Keep on the Borderlands. That was a huge adventure, Keep on the Borderlands. You know, we had the Mad Hermit, we had the Ogre in our party, and we were going around destroying everything. And we still got our butts kicked because basic Dungeons & Dragons is ruthless. When you get to 0 hit points, you're dead. You're not going into negative hit points like advanced. You're not having 3 death saving throws like in 5e. When you hit 0 in basic D&D, you're dead. Unless you use like the optional stuff in the rule cyclopedia that actually give you like a save versus death saving throw. I mean, it's just really crazy. So yeah. So here's X1. I believe this X1 is for the expert set. I believe it's the Holmes Basic Dungeons and Dragons box set. Sorry about that. I just had dinner about an hour ago. I had gorditas. Oh my goodness, they were the best gorditas anyway. Anyway, I digress. Back to D&D. So X1, I believe this is out of the Holmes box set, if I'm not mistaken. And then here's, the modern day version of X1 with the newer D&D logo. So, yeah, I think there's a couple of changes, but pretty much the content in these modules are the same. The maps are the same, etc. Everything is basically the same, as you can see. But I think there were some adjustments and some additional content added into the new one. So, So here's the basic one. This wasn't from 1981. And we'll just kind of go through this pretty quickly. But the Isle of Dread, this was a great module. I mean, it is a huge adventure. You start in Specularum back, on the mainland of the Grand Duchy of Karamikos. And, the Isle of Dread, you got to find, and there's going to be spoilers in this, so there's going to be lost scrolls that you got to find in this. You get, when you set off from... And in fact, here's the main village. When you set off from Specularum, you go across the Dread Sea, you go into the Isle of Dread, and then you end up in the village of Tanaroa. And this place is cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do inside of this. There's overseas stuff. There's, and this is the expert box set. So the expert box set goes through all of wilderness travel with the new wilderness travel rules. And this module is perfect for it. So, you got the village of Tanaroa. You got all of this hex grid crawling that we used to love doing as kids. And you get random encounters every day. You'd run into huge Tyrannosaurus Rexes, Stegosauruses, and you'd have to run from this stuff because there's no way at level 4 or level 5 that you were going to beat like a 20 hit die creature. There's just no way. So we would have to run from the majority of this stuff, and there were so many insane... Basic D&D was insane anyway. basic D&D is nothing like it is today with D&D 5th edition. D&D 5th edition is a walk in the park compared to what D&D used to be. But the game has evolved since then. So many ridiculous wandering monsters. I mean, adult dragons flying overhead. I mean, it was so crazy. But there was so much good content and so many encounters and random encounters through exploration and everything else. But the goal was to get into the temple, get the scrolls, etc. And we had so much fun. But X1 was the first module we did after B2, Keep on the Borderlands. We went straight from, I think we were level 4 or 5 or something like that. And we went straight from there into Expert. It was crazy. We should have done some more beginner stuff first, but we didn't do that. So yeah, X1 Isle of Dread. It's a beautiful module. It's one of my probably top 25 favorite modules of all time. Here is X2. This is Castle Amber. This has a anyway. It has to do with the Amber family, and it's like a medieval France type of crossover story from the Dark Ages or medieval France. So it's like and it's like you're in France, but you're in like this parallel universe. So it's like the module was good, but it was so messed up from a stereotypical D&D module where you're just going through hacking and slashing and killing everything to actually role playing, going to dances and trying to have diplomatic relations with. It was crazy, and then plus the whole parallel universe thing that just kind of threw you off. But it was a cool story, and because here's another crazy thing that wasn't seen in D&D. When you start this module, you're in this like caravan and you're traveling, and then all of a sudden when you wake up the next morning, that's when you were vortexed into the parallel universe. You're in like medieval France, and it's just pretty crazy. You actually awake in the castle. And it's like I said, there's a lot of diplomacy in this. There's a lot of, it's actually a huge module. And you'll see that Castle Amber is pretty huge. And there's a lot of great art in this as well. I should start flipping through these modules as I'm talking about, what I remember from these modules. But everything's got a lot of nice classic art, and actually, this is in good shape too. Sorry I keep saying that in all my videos, but every time I look through all these modules, everybody, it just amazes me on how well I kept these modules, which I'm actually really, really happy that I did. And there's a bunch of new monsters in here, and oh, look what I did. Yeah, I remember. In fact, I didn't cut this. My DM cut it out because and I love to pronounce everything wrong. But this is the pronunciation guide, and because we kept fighting over how to say this and how to say that, and I think it was because of Henry here. A couple of my friends kept calling him Henry, and he says, no, it's not Henry, it's Henry. And so I remember, in fact, he ripped it out and he started handing this to us. So we kept, because he didn't want us to see the monsters and stuff. So, but yeah. Henry. I remember we were fighting over Henry. It almost got into like fisticuffs. But yeah, it goes right here. But the whole module's in great shape. But just that one part is ripped out, but it's still there. And then here's, all the other maps and stuff that came with it as well. So really cool. But yeah, Castle Amber was huge. This is a big module. Cover's in good shape, no staple rust, nothing like that. Really nice. So X2, Castle Amber, totally mine. Screws with your mind. So here's a Curse of Xanathon. This is also a pretty good module. This is X3. It's for characters 5 to 7. And I remember this is definitely a wilderness adventure. And here's your DM map. Here's your booklet. Everything's nice and white, clean pages. Lucky with that. But I remember there was a Duke in this, and there's 5 scenarios in this book. And I remember the Duke is somehow cursed. And as the adventurers, you're tasked to finding a cure for the Duke. And I can't remember the Duke's name. But I remember we did do this module. And to cure the Duke, you need to find this. You need to figure out how to find the wizard. And I'm going everything by memory here. So if anything's incorrect, please let me know in the comment section. I'm sure somebody will. But I believe that there's this. It's either like an evil master thief or an evil wizard that has the cure for the curse. But you have to find the wizard first. It's just not you, blah, 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 and you find the curse. A cure curse spell will not work. It's like a special magical curse and stuff. So, yeah. But this place is awesome. I mean, this place was huge. Lots of dungeon grinding. So if you're an old school, kick in the door and roll your D6 for initiative, you're good to go. There's a harpy, old school harpy. Man, these books are in super good shape, man. Wow. I had these books all stored in comic book bags with the backings on them. And I almost sold all my basic D&D stuff. When my son was born around 1997, I mean, you're a new father, you're strapped for cash. And I almost sold all of my basic D&D books. And the game store, those scumbags offered me $2 a book because they thought that I guess they thought I was hurting for money. And I'm thinking, wow, so I'm going to get like $300 for all my D&D stuff. That's going to buy me like that's going to buy me like 2 weeks worth of diapers and formula for my son, and then I'm not going to have anything to show for it. So I decided to get another job instead. So I did. I worked 2 jobs, and I kept my D&D stuff, and I put all these in comic book bags with backings, and then I took 3 comic book boxes that were full of basic D&D stuff with all my box sets, my board games, everything. And I duct taped them up so nothing could get into the box, like bugs or anything like that. And yeah, I decided to get an extra job because I'm like, man, my mom bought me most of the stuff, and I had bought quite a bit too, and I decided not to sell them. So yeah, best move that I've ever decided to do, because some of these, I guess, from what people are saying in the comments, with the condition and everything, they're worth a lot of money. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, there it is. Curse of Xanathon. I remember doing that. That was a pretty good module. So X4, Master of the, oh my goodness. Oh yes. So Master of the Desert Nomads and Temple of Death. I remember these two are kind of linked. These are actually kind of linked together. And these are both X4 and X5 are for level 6 to 10. So I remember doing these, and I remember there's another module later on. When I see it, I'll remember it. But X4 and X5, this is basically in Master of the Desert Nomads. You've got the massive desert, right? And you've got all these desert nomad tribes. They're starting to militarize, and they're all getting their bands together. And I remember that we were in charge to going to the inlands, because the desert tribes, they wanted to take over everything from what I remember. And this is going from memory and playing this module. So we had to take all of the houses and stuff that weren't in the desert and gain trust and gather all these armies together, because it's like a massive mass combat battle later on. And this was the first part, X4, Master of the Desert Nomads. And all these, like I said, all these desert tribes were joining forces, and they wanted to take everything over. And this was a fun adventure. In fact, this was a massive adventure that we did, and it was like over probably about a year we played this. Oh, and then I'll show you. Sorry about that. I was so excited about talking about the mass combat and everything. So, here it is. You've got a couple of maps. Man, this is in really good shape too. Look at these bright white pages, man. So there you go. There's the wilderness map of the Great Waste. And all these tribes, man, they're gaining more and more people, and they're going to attack everybody. They want to take over everything. And I forget the main guy's name, but he was in charge of getting every tribe together, all those nomad tribes. But here you go. This is pretty cool because there's some new monsters, especially for the mass combat. Check that out. There's the Juggernaut, everybody. The first rendition of the Juggernaut. Remember, there's a Juggernaut. I believe it was in... I can't remember which Icons of the Realms, but it was a big Juggernaut miniature that looked just like that. So here's the wood and the stone versions of the old classic D&D Juggernaut. And then it has the Soul Eater, and it's nice. This old classic art with the new monsters. I really liked it. And then here you go. Here's all the pre-rolled. Here's all your pre-rolled characters with their items and stuff like that. So that was part 1, Master of the Desert Nomads. Here's part 2. It's a level 6 to 10, and this is the Temple of Death, and this is the second module in that Nomads series. And here's your couple of your maps. This actually kind of adds a little bit of like a brownish color instead of just black and white. And man, this looks like it's never been, pages have never been turned in it. Man, look at that. It's so beautiful. All kinds of random encounters in the Great Pass. And that's the great thing about basic D&D. There were so many random encounters. And it's just not stat blocks of monsters. There's all kinds of other information, like, how the caravan reacts and stuff. So you could go through all those old books and kind of just keep track of them and use those in your current game. I mean, hell, you could use those for basic D&D all the way up to D&D 5th edition. Why not? Here's more random encounters. But yeah, this is part 2 of that series where all of the nomadic tribes are trying to take over Karamikos and everywhere else. So really nice. This is part 2. And here's your new monsters. The Sanu. Oh, look at that art. This is not beautiful art. The Geonid. Oh, I remember there was like a fungus layer. Oh my goodness. I think we all died in there because of all of the poisonous spores and stuff. And I think our DM gave us a freebie and let one of our players speak to their deity to get a res or something like that. And we owed a favor. But there's the Malfera, there's the Magina, the Spectral Hound, and then your pre-rolled characters. And here's a map of where this module happens. Really nice. So there's some time in between this and the third part, which comes, I believe, in the companion series. So the Temple of Death, that was fun. Oh, Quagmire. This is a good one too. In fact, this is a cool... All these modules keep bringing back stories for me. We did Quagmire. This is an adventure for levels 4 to 10, and it's called Quagmire. And this is where a swamp... And in fact, I believe we ran this after B4, the Lost... I think it was the Lost Veil, the Specularum adventure. I believe, yeah, we did this afterwards, and Specularum sent us to the city. And in Quagmire, we ran, before the Lost City, I think it was. So this place called Quagmire is sinking into the swamp. The swamp is basically, swallowing this place up. And I believe, I don't want to say, I think the city was called Sackness or Loch Ness or something like that. But yeah. And actually my cleric died. This was one of the first adventures. The first times that my cleric died, one of the first few, and I know that it was vicious. So, and then after we finished Quagmire and we saved the day, in the DA series there is Temple of the Frog God, and it's basically a marsh adventure. So our DM put Temple of the Frog God in, after this as well. So we did like 2 adventures in a row in this swamp, which was actually really fun. So this is X6 Quagmire. Lots of cool art in here as well. And there you go. There's the Quagmire where it's just being, basically ate up. There's a little bit of a sea traveling as well. So here's all kinds of cool random encounters that you can keep note and keep track of. Hey, they're here. So here's the Wildlands, the Spiral City side view. There are lots of lizardmen in here. I do remember that. There you go. There's a lizardman there. So, yeah. And then the new monsters as well. Giant fish, the killer tree, the piranha birds. And then here's all of the random encounters as well, depending on the terrain that you're in. And then the pre-mades. And here you go. Here's all of the different maps of the Spiral City and handout note for your players, and the Wildlands to where you can kind of trek your way as you're exploring. So yeah, this was a good one. We did Temple of the Frog God after this one. Old Quagmire, X7. This is the War Rafts of Cron. Now this was kind of like a first for D&D as well, because the Warcrafts of Cron, I keep wanting to say Con. I don't know why. I'm just going to call them Con because I'm going to butcher it if I don't. So the War Rafts of Con, this was like the first underwater adventure. And, so that was pretty fun. From what I remember, there's a lot of pirating going on in this module, and the pirates, and here's the maps as well. Here's your player's map that you can kind of trek around on the hex. Hex grids were huge in basic D&D and advanced D&D for exploration, because that's what the X box set was all about. Man, this book is like brand new. Look at that. Whew, man, so awesome. So I need to start pricing these and see how much all these books are worth. I'd like to do that. I just haven't had time to do it. But a lot of people say that these things are worth pretty good money if they're in good shape. So, but what I do remember, one of the princesses from the mainland was captured, and you had to find her, and she was in an underwater city. From what I think there's like 3 big underwater cities or something like that, and you have to go save her. And like I said, there's a lot of piracy and stuff like that. And that's how she was actually captured, was because of all of the piracy that was going on and stuff. So, yeah, all kinds of maps and all kinds of dungeons. And look at that. You get to fight great white sharks. I believe the great white shark first appeared here, if I'm not mistaken. There's your merman, all kinds of mermen. Yeah, there's the new dragon turtle, the gargantua, eels, giant jellyfishes, manta rays. Yeah, there you go. Sharks. There's a bull shark, a mako shark, and a great white shark. The triton, the whales. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. Yeah, I remember our boat got smashed up pretty good by, I don't think it was a kraken, but I think it was a dragon turtle. But there's all kinds of new magic items in here, like water-based magic items and stuff, pre-rolled characters. So, yeah, the War Rafts of Cron, we played that. So that was pretty fun. X8. This is another piracy adventure, even though it doesn't look like it. It is. And I really like this. This is X8, but you'll see there's a British flag there. And this was actually, I believe, made in England. So, but I mean, you could still get it here in the United States. And I got this at Walden Bookstore when I would beg my mom for D&D books. Well, actually, I didn't beg her. Right? She did it. So, I mean, yeah, there you go. There's Teki Nuraria. Nice, beautiful map. And from what I remember about Drums on Fire Mountain, it was another piracy type of adventure. And, the Caracara, that's it. That's right, the Caracara. So the Caracara, they were a new monster. And these were like I would say they were probably the equivalent of like a half-orc. Like a modern, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition half-orc. But the Caracara, they were on the island of, I believe it was Caracara, I think it was. And they're basically doing a lot of piracy as well from all the ships from Thyatis, which Thyatis or Thyatis, however you want to say it, it don't matter to me. To the east of the Grand Duchy of Karamikos, that's where Thyatis is. And it's like a warring nation, Thyatis is. And all of their ships are getting plundered by the Caracara. So I don't know why. I think the story was Thyatis was already in a big war with... I think they were in war with Alphatia, which is even to the east of them, I think. So I think that's why, because you're thinking, well, why does Thyatis need our help when they're like the biggest warring nation in the world with like huge navies? But anyway, they were in another war. So that's why you have to help them. And, you're basically hired on to take out the chief. They don't want you to do genocide. Thyatis doesn't want you to kill everybody. They just want you to go and find the chief of Caracara and take him out. So, yeah, I do remember that. That was actually a pretty fun adventure, too. But there you go. Yeah, X8, Drums on Fire Mountain. That was actually a really fun adventure. X9, the Savage Coast. So the Savage Coast, I don't remember a whole lot of this. I don't think that we did X9, the Savage Coast, but I know that it's another wilderness adventure. I think in fact, I think Savage Coast, from what I remember, is kind of like B1 from the beginner series, In Search of the Unknown. So, I think it's set up with random encounters and random, if I'm not mistaken. Let's kind of take a look at it. And I don't prepare for these. I don't write down stuff, or I'm just kind of trying to go from what I remember. But I believe this is an adventure like B1. But there's all kinds of maps in it, and this is in good shape too. Man, so lucky. Maybe not, because I'm seeing that, for each location there are encounters set up already. So it probably isn't set up like B1. But here's, new monsters and stuff like that. Oh, there's the turtle again. I love the turtle. So we'll kind of read the back. What sends you adventuring deep into unknown lands across dark waters around the Savage Coast? Adventure? The sincere desire to help others, or greed? Cartographers Guild members tell of lost cities and hidden treasures. Sailors tell of menacing beasts and cannibals to the west. They tell of savages along the shores who use gold nuggets for fishing weights. Wow, must be nice, huh? They also tell of great mounds of gold that collect at rivers' mouths. You must decide the greater lure, the safety of Slagovich or the glimmer of gold along the Savage Coast. I'm sure 99 out of 100 adventurers will say, let's go full murder hobo and let's get the gold. This adventure includes a map which expands the D&D game world and a special expanded monster section. So, sounds like a search for adventure, basically. You're getting gold. So there you go, Exxon. I don't ever remember playing this, but it's in good shape, though. Next, here is a Red Arrow and Black Shield. I believe this is the final part to X4 and X5. Remember X4, Master of the Desert Nomads, and then X5, the Temple of Death, with all of the nomadic tribes coming together and trying to take everybody out. So X10, I do remember that this had a lot of mass combat. This is also part of the old Dungeons and Dragons battle system, which used like miniatures and stuff like that for mass combat. So this is the follow-up. This is like the last part. So that I know that there was a lot, when we were doing this, there was a lot of role play that you had to do to get all of the factions that you wanted to rally against the Nomads. You had to go to each region and basically role play that out. And then you would take all your armies and then do all of the mass combat math and stuff like that. So that's what I remember about Red Arrow. So there was a lot of role play, a lot of diplomacy, and you had to bring the armies together. And you had to beat... Oh, that's right. This guy's name was the Master. That's right. His name... the leader of all the nomadic tribes was the Master. That's right. I remember that now. And this was a nice module, and you can see it actually has a... oh, yeah, here's all the possible kingdoms and armies. I mean, this is ridiculous. Here's all of the army unit rosters. Look at all this, pages of them. And you had to calculate all of these into the successful diplomacy checks that you would have and gain the use of their armies. So it was crazy. And then you had this big... Oh, that's right, in the chit sheet too. Yeah, this is probably pretty rare, the chit sheet. And we never broke it apart. So, because we didn't want to tear it apart. So yeah, here's like an 8-panel map. Ooh boy, nice rip, Dave. It was in good shape. I just ripped the very slight edge there. But yeah, you would put all your tokens on these, and then you would move all of your armies around and stuff. So yeah, so this is this is beautiful. Especially, seeing that these are all part of the middle 80s, to still have this chit sheet unpunched that's pretty rare, I would imagine. So, yeah. And then here's more, here's all of the different kingdoms and armies. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah, Red Arrow and Black Shield, this was the final part of the trilogy from X4 and X5. So, and plus it had the battle system rules in there as well. So, yep, Red Arrow, Black Shield, X11, Saga of the Shadow Lord. This is, I think we started this and then we went on to something else. So there was like some weird realm that you had to go to and get like the evil gem. I think it was called the Everstar gem or something like that you had to, it was missing. There's, and then inside of this realm, there was all kinds of like droughts and plagues. It was like medieval Europe, basically. I mean, it was just going to hell. Civil disorder was everywhere. You were always getting arrested. Everything was like lawless. And, this is actually, from what I remember, it was a pretty decent module, but I think we went somewhere else from the portal. So, an insidious peril threatens the peaceful kingdom of Wendar. When a traitor stole the realm's greatest treasure, the magical Elven Star. Okay, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Everstone. It was called the Elven Star. I'm sorry about that. Disease, drought, these things are 30 years old, so, I'm trying to remember all this stuff. Disease, drought, and famine struck the land. There you go. For the first time in decades, hostile armies were poised to invade Wendar. Yet even greater danger looms. The traitor has delivered the magical gem into the hands of the Shadow Lord, Wendar's greatest foe. That's right, he was the one that was causing everything, and you had to take him out. This evil being has returned from the dead to seek revenge on Wendar, and the Elven Star is the key to an even more sinister plot. You must evade the Shadow Lord's army, penetrate his fortress, recover the Elven Star, and foil his heinous plan. There you go. Saga of the Shadow Lord. Somebody said this is a super rare module. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. X12, Scaras Mirror. I didn't play this either, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though I owned all these and I had my mom buy these for me, a lot, the tail end of the X series and the tail end of the companion series we didn't play because there was a lot of cool first edition and second edition stuff out like Ravenloft and Undermountain by this time. So, a lot of these we just unfortunately just didn't get to. So X12, Scaras Mirror. Here you go, another trifold panel. Wow, look at that bright yellow. Here's the module. It's 48 pages. I don't remember a whole lot of Scaras Mirror, but I do remember reading the one time that I did read this. There was like a mirror, and if you looked at it, you were sucked in, and the more people would just keep getting trapped. So you had to figure out what the heck was going on with the mirror. So that's from what I remember. That's like the very short, description of the module, but. Yeah, this is in really good shape. I haven't barely even opened this thing up, so there's some classic art right there. Oh, here's the character sheets, never pulled out. Look at that, nice. Redamarin's Tower, and then a dungeon. Oh, and then more character sheets still in there. Nice. So it looks like there's 3 episodes to this adventure. 4 episodes. And then here's all of the NPCs. Here we go. That's cool. Very nice. New items. Stuff like that. So let's kind of read this really quick. I should do this with all the modules, actually. Scaras Mirror. It's a mirror of life trapping, isn't it? Well, yes and no. People go in and they don't come out. Ah, told you, I remember that. Nor can you talk with anyone inside. Somehow, that's not quite the way you remember those mirrors, how those mirrors work. This Scarta fella showed up some years ago with a band of raiders, and no one in the land has been safe since then. Whole villages have disappeared into the Scarta's Mirror. Your band is approaching by relatives of one of the victims, an adventurer like yourself. You have to get into that mirror of whatever it is, find this man, and get him out in one piece. The reward is more than adequate. It's your life. No, I'm just kidding. Only problem is no one out here can tell you what to expect once you get in, or even how to get there. That's cool. I do want to run all these eventually. So that's Scarta's Mirror, X12. We're getting there. Here's X13, Crown of Ancient Glory. And this is something that I don't remember too much about either. But looks like there's a bunch of seafaring stuff. I'm just honest with you guys. I don't remember playing every single D&D module. But this is actually, usually they're 32 pages, but the Crown of Ancient Glory is actually 64. So there's a lot more to do with this module. Oh, look at that piece of art. A kraken! That's not a kraken, by the way. I just had to say it. A little bit of a tribute to Captain Ahab from years back in my 13th Age game. So 64 pages. Crown of Ancient Glory. All is not well in the kingdom of Vesselin. There's Vesselin again. Not only is the king dead and the holy Sonora crown missing, but the heir to the kingdom was lost at birth. Oh, I do remember that part. And the heir is still alive, and you have to find the heir to revive the kingdom because it's in like absolute shit right now. So pardon my language, but yeah, there you go. The heir to the kingdom was lost at birth, and no one knows where to find him. I can't remember him. Yeah, I remember that now. As if it wasn't bad enough, the forces of the Enthgar Khanate, never on the best of terms with Vestland, are now massing on the borders, hoping to take advantage of Vestland's plight. To complete the rosy picture, Traitors from within also threaten to speed the downfall of the High Kingdom. Sounds like a job for you, huh? You must find the long-lost heir to the kingdom and recover the Sonora Crown, the mystical device without which a king cannot be crowned. Standing in your way are traitors and spies from within, and invaders from without the kingdom of Vesselin. Time is running out. Can you save Vesselin from disaster? There you go. Crown of Ancient Glory, X13. Quest for the Heartstone. I love this module, but not because of the module itself. From what I remember, this was just like a dungeon grinder. But why I like this Quest for the Heartstone, which is XL1, this has the D&D action figures. And if you're a kid from the 80s, you know about the D&D cartoon, and there were like plastic G.I. Joe action figures. I have a couple of them. I think I have like 3 or 4, but I don't have any of their weapons or anything, or their cloaks. But all of those heroes are in Quest for the Heartstone. And I loved that because I had Warduke, and it even says on the front, there's Warduke, the anti-paladin right here, and this is Strongheart. And those are the 2 of the action figures that I have. But anyway, you could play those and use the action figures, and that was their whole ploy to, be able to use the action figures and stuff like that. So it was kind of a failed attempt because I think this, from what I remember, we stopped playing the adventure because it was like just a plain old dungeon grinder, and it was kind of boring. By this time, we were getting higher level. We were starting to build our lands in the northern part of Karamikos on the border, and we were starting to do trade. We were getting into, commodities and trading with the Minotaur guilds to the south. So, this dungeon grinder, we were like, what we're doing. And I remember our DM saying, God, I prepared this for nothing. So, but anyway, Quest for the Heartstone. Yeah, here you go. I mean, it's got great art, but I think the adventure was lacking, and I think we stopped playing it. But here you go. Here's Strongheart. Here's the stats, and these are all these are ready to go. And I plan on, and in fact, a couple of these I've already put into Fantasy Grounds because they're going to be NPCs that my players run into in their journeys in basic Dungeons and Dragons. And some of these are actually going to be villains. Well, not the good guys, but I also have Paralay, yeah, the elf. I have him. I have Strongheart, and then I have a couple of the bad guys. I have the half-orc, and then I have Warduke. And I don't think the half-orc's in here. He might not be. Oh, there he is, Zarek. I have him as well. Those are the 4 figures I have. So, and if you have those figures and the modules, I did check those. Those are very expensive. I thought about maybe collecting those, but they're way out of my price range. They're like $150 a piece if they have all their weapons and accessories. So I'm not doing that. I'd rather buy like 2 or 3 books. So yeah, here it is. It wasn't a very good adventure, but I did love this. Here's like the first appearance of the Hook Whore too, right there. Yeah, there you go. And then there's the Dragon and the Roper as well. Look how different the Roper looks from now till back then. That's the original Roper right there. Wow, and this book is in such great shape. But yeah, this was the whole reason why I love this book. It's not because of the adventure. It's all of the characters within. And there's also, there's information about each one of these NPCs as well. So yeah, XL1, Quest of the Heartstone. Adventure stinks, but the NPCs were awesome. So here's a couple more solo modules that I plan on playing these one day. Like I'm going to play all the solo adventures and in the B series as well. This is the last couple of solo modules that they made they didn't do any in Companion or anything like that later on. So Layfons Gold, I remember this is pretty fun. This is a Sea of Dread adventure, as you can see. And there was actually a lot going on. You play as Lathan the Elf, and I believe Lathan is back here. But anyways, Lathan is here somewhere. Is that him? Yeah, there you go. There's Lathan. And this is a cool module because you actually get to add more PCs. So you basically, as a solo player, you're playing an entire group by yourself. And here's the other, the mages, the dwarves, the fighters, and stuff like that. So, it's a choose your own adventure. So you start, at level number 1, and you just continue to go to here, go to this number, go to that number. And there you go. I mean, that's just how the solo adventures were. And it's actually really cool. There's sea encounters and everything in this. So that's actually cool. And then, that's right. The sea encounters. This was cool too. And then it had like a different excerpts from the journals and stuff that you could add in as bonuses as well. So, but all right, that is the X Solo module. All right. So next we've got XS2, which is Thunder Delve Mountain. And this is an adventure where you play a dwarf. And you can actually, with this, you can actually substitute the dwarf as well. And there's all the stuff on the fold-out panel on the cover. Here's some other pre-generated characters. New items, new monsters. Here's all the different rooms, and wow, there's like 430 entries plus on here with all of this. Treasure tables. Really nice. But yeah, Thunderdove Mountain, this is pretty cool. And you need to go into the halls. I think Halls of Paradise, I think it's called. I don't know if I see it along the way. But it's the Halls of Paradise, I think. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. And you got to save the Dwarven Princess. So there's a lot of saving princesses in the X series. I guess back then that was the thing to do, to kick in doors and save princesses back then. So yeah, Thunderdove Mountain was pretty cool. You had to save the princess because she was kidnapped and she's got to save her kingdom or something like that. So for characters levels 7 to 9, and it's choose your own adventure as well. So you can see, go here and then go to 100 and then go here and go there until you're done. So this is another one that I want to do. So I'm going to do this also as a stream. I think that would be really fun. So here are the last two. They're the O series. And the O series, I guess it means one-on-one. So this is a module for thieves at level 8. And this is a one-on-one adventure. But the cool thing about this is it isn't just a DM like DMing a player. This is like one-on-one. You're going against the DM. You're fighting against the DM. So that's what this is. This is what it's all about. So these have 2 books, and what the objective is to win. The player needs to steal an item from the DM. So obviously you got to steal a gem and a staff. So and the thing is about this, look at these beautiful maps. Just think if these were in color. And in fact, you could probably take these, clip them out of a PDF or scan these, and then color these maps. These maps would be amazing. These are so far ahead of their time. I'm not joking. What's this module from? Mid-80s? 1983. 1983. That's 31 years ago. And look at these amazing 3D maps. I mean, that's amazing. Just think if you added a bunch of color to these maps, how beautiful it would be. And all these are little encounter maps. So yeah, these are so far ahead of their time. I don't remember ever seeing in any other D&D book, I don't ever remember seeing any more maps like this in basic D&D. This is so far ahead of its time. But here's Eric the Bold. Eric the Bold is played by the player. And then you basically, you're going against the DM. And it's you versus the DM, one-on-one. So that's actually pretty cool. And the DM plays an evil wizard in this. And I would actually like to play this against one of my players. Maybe I'll do this as like a patron reward or a patron giveaway or something like this. And then here, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about these as well. Here's color character figures. Look at that. That's it. Tormac. That's who the DM plays. Tormac, the evil wizard. But look at that. Those maps are absolutely stunning. Those are so far ahead of their time. I mean, look at that. Whoever did those, hats off. I mean, brilliant job. But yeah, this is a one-on-one. The gem and the staff. Eric the Bold as the player, and then your Tormac as the dungeon master, and you're trying to steal the staff. Now, O2, I never played this, but this is one of my favorite pieces of art in basic D&D. I don't know why, but I'm not a current day elf fan. And like 3, 4, 5, I'm not an elf fan, or I'm not a half elf fan. But in basic D&D, I loved elves because they were a fighter and magic user rolled up into one. It was a multi-class before multi-classing came out in first edition advanced. And I don't know, but when I saw this at Walden Books, I fell in love with this art. I don't know why, but I just did. This is like one of my favorite pieces of art. And you know, this is a one-on-one adventure. This is O2. This one was made in England, and this is called Blade of Vengeance. And you're playing, and look at all these maps and stuff too, which is really cool. 16 different maps or something like that. 12 encounter maps. Here's your elf. Here's your elf character sheet. And then this is actually in a little rough shape. I don't know why, but here's your family as well, your family tree. Everything about your character is here on this sheet. And you're playing a 7th level elf. And you're playing against the DM, which is Gornag, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Cordarg. Sorry about that. I goofed up on a couple of letters. So yeah, you're going against the DM, which is playing as Cordarg. And yeah, there you go. And this is everything you need. And this is Blade of Vengeance. One of my favorite pieces of art in the old D&D. I don't know. I think it's because of there's a lot of action going on. You know, the trees kind of being pushed by all the wind and stuff, and the hair of the elf. I just like that. I think it's pretty cool. Cool piece of art. So there you go, everybody. Those are all of the expert modules for the basic Dungeons and Dragons game. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Sorry that it was a long video. My apologies on that. Please leave a comment section down below. I'd like to hear all of your stories. If you guys have played any of these X series modules, please chime in the comment section. I love to read and reply to them all. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please thumbs up the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So until next time, happy gaming, stay safe, and keep using the awesome Fantasy Grounds virtual tabletop program. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.